Everything is so sharp. His technique is flawless. Everything's flawless. His boxing is so dangerous. He's so dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous with submissions. He's dangerous with kicking. He's dangerous. His heart is dangerous. They're not even talking. So when he's throwing the mitts at his head to get him to duck, there's no communication. He just sees that hand coming towards him and he's ducking. He sees this hand coming towards him and he's ducking. It's all like slight slips away, and it's slight motions, which is all you need to get away from a punch, right? You don't want to move too far. You're wasting a lot of energy and you can't counter it.
Applause. Roy Jones Jr. is set to sharpen Ilia Topuria's striking for UFC 317, adding boxing royalty to his corner ahead of the Oliveira showdown. To not mix it up, I don't train MMA at all. I do boxing classes, wrestling classes. I try to learn every discipline separate. Why do you do that? Because when the training camp comes, I try to mix it up and polish everything that I have been able to learn till that moment. You know what I mean? Everything that worked for me in wrestling and boxing in the places where I felt comfortable, like that's why I want to develop all the time my knowledge. Roy Jones Jr. is best known for being one of the greatest boxers to ever grace the sport. But now at 56 years old, he's looking to bring his boxing brilliance into the UFC octagon, more specifically into the corner of Ilia Topuria. As Topuria prepares for the biggest fight of his career at UFC 317 against Charles Oliveira, the former four-division world champion boxer has expressed a clear willingness to help the undefeated Georgian Spaniard refine his striking. Roy believes he can bring a level of polish and technique that could give Topuria a serious edge in the stand-up game. Everything is so sharp. His technique is flawless. Everything is flawless. His boxing is so dangerous. He's so dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous with submissions. He's dangerous with kicking. He's dangerous. His heart is dangerous. They're not even talking. So when he's throwing the mitts at his head to get him to duck, there's no communication. He just sees that hand coming towards him and he's ducking. He sees this hand coming towards him and he's ducking. It's all like slight slips away, and it's slight motions, which is all you need to get away from a punch, right? You don't want to move too far. You're wasting a lot of energy and you can't counterattack. According to Jones Jr., his methods are rooted in staying set during exchanges, something he says is critical in MMA where takedown threats are constant. He believes his fighting philosophy and ability to teach efficient striking mechanics could amplify Topuria's already devastating boxing skill set. With a career record of 66-10 in professional boxing in recent fights as late as 2023, including a bout against former UFC champ Anthony Pettis, Jones Jr. feels confident in his understanding not just of boxing, but of the full spectrum of combat. He emphasized that his insight isn't limited to one discipline and that he thoroughly understands the needs of MMA fighters in particular. He said, "I would make a lot of difference to Ilia Topuria's camp for Charles Oliveira because I teach how to get the most out of the striking, how to stay set while you're doing it, because in MMA, you got to always be set because guys can take your legs out. But the way I fight, you always stay set. So, I think what I teach would be advantageous to anybody who chose to indulge in it and get what I really teach." Topuria, who vacated his featherweight belt to move up in weight, is now set to face Oliveira for the vacant UFC lightweight championship on June 28 at UFC 317 in Las Vegas. While he enters the bout with a perfect 16-0 record, this will be his debut at 155 pounds, and he'll be standing across from one of the most experienced and dangerous veterans in the sport. Interestingly, while many believe Topuria's superior boxing and power could be the difference in this fight, not everyone is ready to count Oliveira out. Michael Chandler, a man who has shared the octagon with Ilia twice and lost both times, knows all too well how difficult the Brazilian is to beat. Chandler admitted that while Topuria likely has the edge in striking due to his precision and knockout power, Oliveira's all-around game makes him an incredibly tough challenge. Chandler emphasized that Oliveira's skills extend well beyond grappling, pointing out his underrated toughness and resilience. Lightweight division is being turned on its head. Islam Makhachev vacated. He's going to welter through it. We have a title fight pretty much a month away exactly right now for the vacant belt between Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira. I guess are you surprised this is the way everything played out from Islam not keeping the belt and it being like an interim or something to the fight we ultimately got for the vacant title? No, I'm not surprised. And I think maybe some of those rumors and stuff maybe played into my decision on why I wanted to fight Patty. Why I wanted to get back in there. Obviously, if you look at the timing, I should have had a win against Olivia. I messed that up. I should have had a win against Patty. I messed that up. I've had these great opportunities and they've just slipped through my fingertips. So, if I would have beat Charles, I would be fighting Ilia for the title right now, but this is the way the sport goes. I'm not surprised at all the craziness that's happening. I'm happy Ilia came up to 155. I'm happy Max is at 155. You got Poirier, you got Poirier leaving the sport here in the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. Which is crazy. You got Gaethje, you got Patty. There's a bunch of different stuff going on. So, I'll be cage side for that fight to watch it. And we'll see how it plays out. Yeah. Who do you think is going to win? Man, it's tough. You don't bet against freaking Charles Oliveira because he's so dang good everywhere and he's a really hard guy to beat. With that being said, Ilia Topuria has got some crazy power in his hands and crazy accurate strikes. So it'll be very interesting to see how that fight goes. Mateus Gamrot, a top 10 contender in the lightweight division, has also weighed in. He favors Olivia to win, citing the Brazilian size advantage as a key factor. According to Gamrot, Topuria may find himself overwhelmed physically as Olivia is naturally the bigger man and has fought the best at 155 pounds for years. Gamrot also acknowledged both fighters' dangerous striking and finishing abilities, but ultimately leaned toward Olivia's overall toolbox and frame as decisive advantages. Next month, the lightweight championship is on the line. Ilia and Charles, who do you have? Very interesting matchup. The both guys has a power and skills to get the win this fight. Like Ilia can knock him out. The Oliveira, he has heavy hands for sure. But also Charles Oliveira has a lot of good tools to beat Ilia in the ground, in the feet, everywhere. But I think Oliveira is really big guy. Ilia is short guy. And I think this going to be much different than the both guys. And I think that this going to be advantage for Charles Oliveira and he get the win. Even though Topuria is favored by oddsmakers, Olivia isn't lacking confidence. In fact, he's already making bold predictions. The Brazilian has publicly stated that he will be the one to hand Topuria his first professional loss. And not just by decision or submission. He says he will knock him out. This is a surprising statement given that Oliveira's ground game is widely considered his most dangerous weapon. With 22 submission victories in his career, many fans and analysts believe his best route to victory lies in grappling exchanges. What are your thoughts on Ilia Topuria and Iora the fighter? How do you feel about just the overall fight? I'm just going to knock this guy out. Still, Oliveira remains adamant that he'll test Topuria in the striking realm. While his boxing may not be as crisp as Topuria, Olive's unpredictable Muay Thai-based offense filled with knees, kicks, and wild exchanges can often disrupt more traditional boxers. This sentiment was echoed by Banal Darius, who knows firsthand how dangerous Oliveira can be. Darius argued that Olivia's striking style is actually particularly tricky for pure boxers. The way Olivia uses knees and clinch work can interfere with boxers' timing, especially when they try to feint and dip their heads to get inside. According to Darius, those tactics could prove vital in slowing Topuria down and breaking his rhythm. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think Charles is really tough. I think he's got a good chin. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Who's got great striking and what's going to be difficult for Ilia is Charles's striking is I think really dangerous against good boxers, the way he throws his knees, the way he clinches, and those are things you can do to slow down Ilia because for example a good boxer will dip low to fake or feint to go get in on the inside, and that's times where Charles will just raise his knee and mess with your timing or throw a kick. Things like that. So I think the fight's a lot closer. I understand why people are favoring Ilia, and I think if you had to ask me I probably would favor him as well, but I don't think it's going to be like he's going to walk through Charles like everybody thinks. Darius did give credit to Topuria's grappling however. He acknowledged that many people underestimate Topuria's ground skills simply because his striking gets most of the attention. Darius highlighted Topuria's past performances against skilled grapplers like Ryan Hall and Bryce Mitchell, where he not only defended takedowns, but also dominated on the ground when needed. That kind of versatility, Darius noted, makes Topuria a more complete threat than he's given credit for. Still, he believes the fight is much closer than most fans assume and warns against writing off Oliveira just because of Topuria's undefeated record. Charles could be dangerous if it does hit the ground in this one, right? Yeah, of course. Charles is always dangerous. Here's what I would say. I know jiu-jitsu was very good because when he fought on Ryan Hall,